Hey guys, I hope you all are doing good. In this video, I thought I'd do something a bit different and give you guys a bit of a backstory and tell you a little bit more about myself and my own trading journey from how I got started with trading to this point where I'm just trading stocks full time. And, this is my primary job now. So I just thought I'd share a little bit more about myself and not only talk you through my own journey as a trader, but I also want to make sure that I include all the ups and the downs, the emotional roller coasters, and all the lessons I've learned along the way. Basically, I want to make sure that I share the real cost when you're trying to pursue trading as a career. I share that because loss of money is pretty obvious and everybody knows that, but that's not the only cost when you're trying to become a full-time trader. So I want to make sure that I include everything. So sit back, relax, and let's just roll in and see how it goes. So I got introduced to trading in 2015. If you think about it, it's like almost 10 years now. Actually, not almost, actually 10 years now. So this was a job that I found on, like as a fresh university graduate, I found this job and it was an entry level job at a broker, basically a trading broker. So you can open an account and trade the markets, that kind of broker. I got this job over there as an entry level salesperson, and this was in Dubai. And no, I wasn't very silly to be coming to Dubai without any experience or something like that. I was just born and raised here, so this was home to me. So that's how Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend anybody to be coming to Dubai without having some level of experience and some sort of job offer, because it is a pretty expensive city. It's a great city to be living in, but yeah, it's very competitive and it's pretty expensive as well. But yeah, coming back to the story, so that's how I got started with trading. It was an entry level sales job I got, and I started working with them. And the idea on that in that company was it was a pretty respectable broker. They've been in the market for a while now, and the idea for them was even the salespeople like us, even the junior guys like us, we should have a little bit of insight and training on how the trading, how markets and how trading actually works. And they gave us a bit of a insight about the trading platform, charts, and a couple of patterns like head and shoulders and all that stuff. How to buy a position, how to sell a position, manage stop loss, and all that stuff. So the idea was, if we do get a client on board, we can sort of help them navigate the platform a little bit better. And that was the idea. And they encouraged us to place a couple of trades. But I remember the moment I had seen charts for the first time, and this particular broker had CMC Markets platform. And if any of you are familiar with CMC Markets, the platform looks really, really fancy. It looks really cool, a lot of flashy colors, a lot of numbers, and all that stuff. So it looked pretty cool to me. I was just instantly fascinated by what I was seeing, and I was just instantly like, this is something I want to do. That's what I was actually thinking. And the very same day, and the training wasn't very intensive. Like, it was a 2-3 day training for a couple of hours here and there. So you can imagine, like, it was just how to use the platform essentially, not how to trade. And they encouraged us to place a couple of demo trades, so I did. And I didn't know anything about the markets. I didn't know what stocks were, what futures and forex was at that time. And all I knew was gold, because I'd heard my parents speak about gold and silver and things like that. So I just saw gold. I bought gold. It was a $10,000 demo account. I just bought the default position size that the platform actually had. Bought it, left it, and the next day I come back to the office and I spoke with my colleagues about what happened with their positions, and some made some loss on their demo account, some made profits on the demo account. I made like a $10,000 demo account profits, because the next morning when I came to the office, it was just 10K plus on a 10K account. And everybody just, we spoke and everybody found it interesting. But I just, like, I think my interest was just clearly like on the next level. It was very obvious at that time. And where they found it interesting, I just found it a possibility. Like, sure, this was a demo account. Sure, this is not real money. But now, essentially, whatever I've done by a fluke, this just seemed like a possibility to me back then. I was like, what if it was a real account or real money? I would have essentially made some real money, like $10,000. And that's how I completely got hooked onto the markets. And I was like, this is something I actually want to do. And moving on, this is where, even though my job was primarily a salesperson and getting clients on board and getting them closed and open an account with us, I ended up spending way too much time on the charts, playing around with the demo account and trying to learn about the markets and forex and all that sort of stuff. um, I still didn't know anything about stocks as much, at least. But in most of the CFD brokers, they tend to be mostly leaning or gravitating towards forex as the primary product for trading, and that's what they would constantly keep talking about, forex, basically. So that's how I started just kind of gravitating more towards forex and trying to learn about forex trading. And I was clearly just spending way too much time on the charts and the demo account rather than actually doing my sales job. And 3 or 4 months later, unsurprisingly, I was just fired from that job. And during the firing period, like I asked them, like, hey, since I'm a fresh graduate, I'm a fresher, you're accepting new without experienced people, can you put me in the trading department? You kind of do the same thing with like trading department as well, where you have traders. I had no idea like they were actually trading or they were just assisting clients. No idea about that. But they said no. And to me back then, it felt that you kind of needed a finance degree to be able to qualify for those sort of jobs and those sort of professions. And I was already entertaining the idea of moving to Canada and pursuing a higher degree, master's or something like that, in Canada. But then I had gotten this job, so the idea kind of sort of fizzled away. But right after I got fired, this idea just kind of became more concrete for me. And in a few months, I just moved to Canada, got a university sort of admission, and I just started studying. And the very first year in Canada, I didn't try to learn anything about trading the markets on my own. This was still 2015, last quarter around there. So I didn't try because the whole idea for me was get a degree, get a job in trading, and that's what was going on. But after the first day, I started realizing that all the courses they were about finance. Rarely there were courses about trading or anything about stock market or market related. Most of the courses were about taxation and retirement planning and things of that nature. And also they were mostly just based on the Canadian sort of economy and Canadian sort of system. Even though I was having a great time in Canada, I was really starting to doubt my own decision that do I want to study and live here? That's number one. And at the same time, after my second semester, I was or mainly got like very much more serious about the third semester, which was like 1.5 year into Canada. I was really seeing that all the degree is that I'm trying to pursue, the education system is really just relying on Canada and getting a job in Canada. And second, it doesn't have anything to do with trading. So I really started doubting my own decision, and that's where I decided eventually that instead of continuing to pursue the last semester, which is the fourth semester, I'm going to drop out, take the uh, fees money, and just fund my trading account, and decided to move back to Dubai and try to pursue trading and try to learn on my own. And third semester is also where I started to learn trading. And basically, when I say learn, it's just consuming a lot of content online and doing things like that. And during this whole third semester, I was also having like these part-time jobs in Tim Hortons, factory labor jobs, making shawarmas at shawarma sort of restaurants, and plenty of other odd jobs, really. So that's what I had done over there. So I was saving some money. I would save like $500,000, just fund my trading account, and kind of save the money for 1.5 month and blow it up in like 2 weeks. So that happened like 2 or 3 times. But something interesting happened at this time. And this is where a lot of developing traders make a mistake, and they really just are even unable to recognize this mistake. And I certainly wasn't able to recognize this mistake. And what happened is I was consuming a lot of information and a lot of content, and I was staring at the charts all day long. And I just felt, keyword being felt, that I'm doing a lot of work and I'm working really hard. And at the same time, when you consume so much of trading content and get familiarized with charts and candlestick patterns and things like that, you develop an ability to be able to call the markets at least 60-70% of the times. Like you could see the chart of a euro dollar and you can actually guess which way it's headed, like it's going to move up or move down. And that ability to call the market, plus when you combine that consuming a lot of information, feeling like you're working hard, it just felt that it's only a matter of time and I'm going to become profitable. Sure, I'm losing a lot of money. Sure, I'm losing like these 500 or $1,000 accounts, which actually didn't even feel anything. I didn't even take them seriously. That's the second problem. Because it was just such small accounts or such small amounts of money, I didn't even pay attention, and I just kept feeling good. And fourth semester, I really decided to move back to Dubai, take my fees, and just pursue trading full time on my own. But yeah, it was just that feeling. And I don't think so it was a bad decision, because I don't think so I would have been happy in Canada, living, having a regular life and paying income tax. So around like last quarter of 2017 onwards, I really just focus on mainly just trading the markets and trying to improve my trading skills. And this is where I would say like my trading lessons started to come. And even though I had learned enough while my time in Canada and looking at a lot of random information and some courses every now and again, I had learned enough or about like just the importance of journaling your trades. And I'd also learned like a bit of risk management, like not to risk more than 1% and things like that. So I had stopped blowing up my accounts. And when I came back to Dubai, uh, I lived with my parents, so there were not a lot of expenses, but I just really gave that college fees, which was an international student fees, which is like 7 or 8 thousand Canadian dollars. I used that fees and traded the markets, and because I was doing at least so many different things in my trading and logging my trades, after a while I started finding that I'm doing a lot of random trades, which are just very, very inconsistent. Probably my winning rate would have been like 20%. I was consistently losing money on them. But there was some promising patterns or some promising results with these harmonic patterns in Forex. These patterns are pretty like across the asset class. It just works. These are called harmonic patterns. These are like Gartley and bat and butterfly pattern. I know the name sounds funny, but they actually do have an edge in the market, or at least back then. It's a very small edge, I would say, but it certainly has a positive expectancy in the long run. So it's a good pattern. I was seeing better results with them. So that's what I ended up trading, and I was just exclusively trading them. And this is around 2018-ish, I would say, where I had my very first taste of consistency in trading profits, because my equity curve was actually starting to grow for the first time ever. This was the very first time that my equity or my account was higher than my actual initial deposit on the account. And I think it was like 2 or 3 months in, and I had made like on $5,000 account, I had taken to about 7,000 or so, seven and a half. Not a lot of money, but this was the very first time that this thing could actually work. And this is where the very first lesson actually kicks in. And what happened is I was trading okay, and I was feeling more comfortable and confident. And this one fine week, I don't find any good trading opportunities. And I was trading these patterns only on the 4 hour chart, because anything less than 4 hour chart, especially on forex, like 1 hour 15 minutes, just the spreads were just too wide. And on the daily charts, I wasn't trading them because it was just too long of a time frame for my personal personality. So I didn't want to be that patient with my trading, so I just stuck to 4 hour charts, all 28 pairs. One fine week, I don't find any good trading opportunities, so I didn't trade. So here's where all the mistakes just came into picture. Number one, this one fine week, like actually for the second week, I didn't find any good trading opportunities. And on the second week, I sort of find something which doesn't quite, meet all the trading rules of those patterns, but it was just like 60% there. And if you know anything now, like it's probably a D setup. So it's some setup that is not even worth trading. That's number one. Second, that setup appeared on the daily chart, which wasn't congruent with my trading style and my patience level. Number three, at the same time, I had learned something new in forex markets, which is like you can hedge your position. So you can go long and you can go short at the same time. So let's say you go long and the market just sort of drops against you, and you can go short at the same time. If it continues to drop against you and goes, your loss on your long position is going to continue to increase, and profits on your short position are going to continue to increase. Basically, the gap, that floating loss, would just stay stuck. It's not going to increase or it's not going to decrease, basically. So I learned something new. I'm like, now I feel invincible in the market. Now, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be able to lose money. So I take this D quality setup. I enter short on euro dollar, I believe it was. And yeah, so on a daily time frame, and because I felt so invincible because of hedging, I just took a lot larger position, not as large, but just large enough to be congruent to the 4 hour chart. But this was a daily chart, meaning the stop loss would have had to be much more wider for the daily chart. But I didn't do that. I entered, and as soon as it kept on going against me, I just hedged, because this is the new skill that I learned, right? So I hedged my position. It kept on going against me. I started averaging down. And here's another one: never ever average down, guys. You've heard so many traders say that. This is what I did. And I kept on doing this as it kept going against me. I kept on averaging down and I kept on hedging the position. And at some point, I think if I were to close that position, my P&L or my loss would have been like 20% on my account. So I was like, shit, this is just too big of a loss. I can't take this. So I kept on doing this. At some point, it reached 50%. And eventually, at one point, it reached like, if I close this position now, I would lose 95% of my account. So uh, at some point, I think I was in that position for about 2 or 3 weeks or so. Maybe I closed that position after like 3 weeks. But something interesting really happened. And that day, the day I actually closed my position, it was Euro just making the biggest move to the upside when my position was to the short side. In the London session, it just made such a huge or massive move to the upside. And I was like just completely scared. And I was like, maybe I should really just close the position. And I closed the position. And I kid you not, guys, that same day in the New York session, that entire massive move got completely sold off. And in that same week, it just came all the way back to my initial entry point. And the next week, it came to my first target, second target, and even went much further down to the downside, well further of my targets. And I just kept on looking at it. It just made me feel sick. It just made me feel horrible. I just feel so stupid and all that stuff, like, so and it just really felt that everybody in the market was literally just against me in that position. That's what it felt like. It literally felt like George Soros himself was looking at me and he was like, he seems to be making money. Let's make him pay. That's what it felt like. But sometimes market just knows exactly how much to push you till the point that where you're gonna break. And the moment you break, it just kind of gives you that laugh, like, ha 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 ha. I did exactly what you wanted me to do, but you're not in it. So anyways, without dragging on to this was actually my very first lesson about never to average down, never to do anything silly like hedging. There's a right way to hedge in the markets, but this opposite side position is definitely not one of them. Never to average down, never ever to compromise on your A plus setups, like never settle for like C or D quality setups. So a ton of lessons over there, blew up my account. And at this point, I was just really starting to get tired of being at home and just, not having anything to show for. And this is where I started looking for a job at the same time. And I got another entry level job as a media buyer. So Facebook ads and Google ads and things like that. So the next lesson really came in when, it was this job I got, media buying job. It was an entry level job again. And at the same time, I was like, okay, let me just save some money and get back into the markets. And I had also seen a level of consistency. At least I had tasted consistency for a very, very small amount of time. So I saw hope and I saw possibility about trading for the very first time in my life. So this also gave me the confidence of actually just sticking into it. So yeah, after a while, very quickly, I just saved up some money because I was living with my parents at that time. All the money just kept on going to my trading account. Had no expenses or very minimal expenses at that time. So very quickly saved up some money, started trading again. And I saw this, okay, these are the patterns that I want to trade. And this is the only strategy that works. And it's a very, very systematic trading strategy. And that's the only thing that works. I don't want to trade anything else. I come to the market with that confidence, and I think for a week or 2 weeks, I traded pretty well, and it went okay. I was starting to, have the average sort of 65% win rate with that sort of strategy, and it was working basically again for about 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, this was maybe like early or something mid 2019ish or somewhere around 2019s. So this is where so I started trading after 2 weeks. Every single trade I took just turned into a loser. And at first it was okay, 3 or 4 losses, it was okay, maybe up to 5 trading losses, it was okay. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember how it went was like I had a few losses which felt okay, which felt normal, which was also normal. But any losses after the normal normal number of typical losses that I got, started to really start bother me. And what ended up happening is after a while, I must have got starting to get frustrated, and with that frustration, I kept on increasing my size just to make it back, and got into revenge trading. Eventually, to the point where my account was just completely gone, like wiped out by 85% very quickly. In fact, like 3 or 4 weeks into the whole new trading journey, it just completely kind of blew up. And later on, I realized that the trading strategy that I was trading was a ranged based trading strategy. Most of those patterns that I was trading, they only tend to have the higher probability when the markets are ranging. So here's what you learn about market conditions. And the second thing is all the markets were consistently trending were because US was I don't remember exactly what was the reason back then, but all US was raising interest rates, and interest rates were going high, so dollar kept on gaining strength, and all the other currencies just kept on going against them. Basically, just kept on falling against the US dollars. So that was the main reason all the markets were trending. And this pattern just, first of all, didn't come as often, but it still came often enough, especially on the lower time frames when I just started compromising on finding this chart. If I can't find it on 4 hour chart, I'm going to drop down to 1 hour 15 minutes, just because I was just into the revenge trading mode and kept on increasing the size. So a lot of those emotional trading mistakes I made, but later on I really just learned, be aware of the whole market conditions. What are the market conditions you must be aware? And at the same time, I also learned my big lesson, which literally just shaped my trading. This trading lesson and even the previous trading lesson, probably, like, I could say that these two things actually just shaped my trading journey moving forward. And that's probably the reason I remember these two examples or trading blow up stories so vividly. I just learned, like, the importance of fundamentals. Any market actually moves, it's the fundamentals that are driving those moves. Technical analysis is simply a timing tool, and fundamentals are actually what drive the market. So this is another things I actually learned. So the next step was really just transitioning into stocks. I was completely done with forex trading after that. This was like, I've given it enough number of years, and this was probably like late 2019. I was just completely done with trying to trade. Or mid 2019, I was just had blown up my last trading account, and I was just completely done with forex. And around 2019, and this is how I actually transitioned into stocks, is there used to be a really popular podcast called Chat with Traders. I don't know if they are still around, but I used to be like such a religious listener of that podcast, and I used to listen to all the episodes that they have. And after listening to those episodes, it just felt like 90% of the traders who were really successful, they just all were trading stocks. And I really started feeling that maybe forex trading is complete nonsense. It's complete gambling, or maybe not complete gambling, but I was like, this is just not something I want to continue pursuing. And maybe it's time for me to start looking into stocks. I researched into stock trading for a while, quickly signed up for a course, and that's how I actually got started trading stocks in around 2019, mid 2019 or so, or late 2019. I pretty much immediately jumped into trading live, and around then, you have something called the PDT rule when you're trying to trade stocks. Most of you stock traders would actually already know this. So you need to have $25,000 or higher in your trading account in order to be able to day trade the markets. So I borrowed some money from my parents. They lent me $30,000, but I had like $3,500 at that time. So I was like, this is the only amount I'm willing to risk. If I lose this much money, I'm just gonna withdraw the money and give you the rest of it back. So that was the whole deal. That's exactly what happened. 3 or 4 months into my trading stocks journey while having a job at the same time, completely lost that $3,500 very quickly, came into stocks, lost into stocks, and just got out of stocks as well. And I think around 2019, late or 2020 is where I started doing much better with my job. At least I got like a small minor promotion. And I was just completely done with trading. At least I didn't even look at the markets from 2020 to probably like late 2021 and early 2022s. At the same time, I was doing okay with jobs, and then COVID happened. The company shut down. I started looking for another job. Got a better job fairly quickly. Uh, and if I remember correctly, yeah, I worked at that job for a while. And then because I had some agency experience, I opened up my own marketing agency or advertising agency. So I was offering those services. At this time, I had also had some sort of a network in my industry, and just worked really well for me. I was just making around $12,000, $15,000 net profits per month for myself. And it was just even though it was an agency, I had a company license. It was mostly a freelance because a lot of the things I was doing on my own. And this is actually the reason, and this is key, guys. This reason actually made me come back to trading and started looking at trading much more seriously. Um, you know how we all are hearing about AI and how AI is changing the world and how AI is here to take all your jobs, and how on the other side people are saying like how AI is just here to enhance your jobs. And I agree to both sides, but this was actually my biggest reason and biggest fear, in fact. Even though my agency work was really doing okay, I could, as a managerial position when I was in jobs or when I was offering these services, I was still hiring other people to sort of do the delivery, a lot of it. And I was 50% of it was I was doing the work myself. And what I noticed is all the jobs or all the tasks that maybe required like 5 people or 7 people, now those exact same tasks could be done by like 2 people or 3 people, all the sort of activities and procedures. And even when it came to me, like I had been doing media buying for like a number of years at this point, and I was becoming really good at it. All my experience was kind of getting beaten down by algorithm, because the algorithms just started becoming much better. And if you just really want to have absolute the best results when it comes to your ad campaigns, uh, my experience was sort of falling short when it comes to algorithm. Like sometimes you're just better off letting the algorithm do its thing, and it's going to generate you better results. And it was starting to happen. And what it really made me think is, sure, AI is coming to make my job easier. My job was certainly getting much more easier because of all the AI and algorithms just getting better. That's great. But that also tells me that over a period of time, this skill is just going to be a lot more accessible. And because there's an excess supply of the skill, the value of the skill and the lucrativeness of this business is also going to go down. And like it's just going to become a lot more harder to stay in the business and compete in this business and also continue to grow in this business while having a healthier profit margins. So those are the fears sort of started kicking in to me. And I was like, is there longevity over here? So that's where I started doubting. And that's where around 2022 I started looking at the markets. And this time I probably for the first time started looking at the markets and trading a lot more seriously, probably for the first time. So now this was 2022. This time I had sort of gained so much information and so much knowledge and exposure to so many different kind of strategies. And I was also locked into just stocks. Like I liked and I enjoyed trading stocks a lot more compared to forex. And also, I might be biased, but I do see like profitability wise and actually making, just growth wise, I think stock trading is much better than forex for sure. I obviously could be biased. So, and even when I say like all these years, even the times where I was not trading or taking a break from trading, like I couldn't let go of the thought of trading. It was like trading was my first love, essentially, right? So I never stopped thinking about trading, even though I wasn't looking at the markets, or I wasn't even trading the markets. The ideas or different thoughts about being able to execute a certain strategy, a certain pattern, or certain something else was always kind of lingering in my head, maybe once a week or so at least. And throughout these 2 years, like when I was doing much better in other ventures of myself, but I wasn't trading actively. I didn't even have a trading account at that time. I might have an account and have some money into that account, but I wasn't like placing any trades or something like that. So this is where I started re-entering the market and started taking it a bit more seriously. And at this time, I also had a lot more flexibility when it comes to my time, and also had a decent level of capital of my own money. So, and some income also coming in. So a lot less pressure. Plus, feel a lot easier when this money is just your own money to lose if you have that. And it was a decent sum of capital that I had already gathered and saved up. And not being a very big spender kind of helps, Um so essentially what I started doing, instead of trying to trade the markets, first and foremost I just went to all my old and previous trades, and I just started looking at what were the things that I was doing right. Why did I win certain trades? Because every trade is a 50-50 shot anyways, right? So that's also another things. Like I think if traders just kept on losing every single trade, they would learn so much more faster. And I've heard another trader actually say this, and I so agree with him. I can't remember who exactly, but yeah, this is one of the traders said, like if every single trade ends up being your loser, it's that trader is going to learn so much more faster, and I so agree with that. particular statement. So what happened is I started reviewing my old trades. Some were winners, some were losers, and I was like, why is this winner a winner? Is this even a good winner? And all this time I had gathered so much information, knowledge, and exposure to different strategies and different methods of trading. I started narrowing everything down. And there was a one random video that I came across. It was about trading psychology back then. Randomly, I came across it, and the way that person explains in that video was something along the lines of his name is, first of all, Randy Howell, and he says like less is more in trading, and uh, like like he explains it in such a way that just hit home for me. And I started doing that instead of trying to use all the random information and so much good or bad information that I had or knowledge I had. I completely started eliminating any of this, and I only stuck with and I only started sticking with like the things that I wanted and needed in my trading and what my trading strategy is. And I started defining rules, and I started seeing all my previous trades. If I were to trade with these sort of trading rules and these sort of strategies, what would have happened? And I saw there was a clear edge I could start doing. And for the first time, probably ever, I started trading responsibly with trading a demo account first rather than just funding some money into the trading account. And this time I actually started trading on a demo account and started seeing like, what if I trade this thing properly? And regardless of what the trading results were, later on I would just start reviewing my trades, and if I were actually traded this stuff like this stock exactly as per my strategy and my trading plan, what would have happened? And I was starting to see that there was a clear edge, and there was a clear sort of winning strategy behind this. And that's how I gradually started improving and gradually transitioned to full time, sorry, live trading, and then gradually just kept on taking less and less clients over time, and then just gradually kept on shifting from just advertising and other stuff to gradually just coming on to trading full time. And now this is where I'm at, just trading full time. It's been a few years now, just doing this, and around 2025 is like starting of this year. Basically, I started working with a couple of other traders as well, helping them. And it's surprising when they have the right guidance and the right instructions to actually follow, how quickly people can actually become profitable as a trader. Because all the random and useless information, maybe not useless, but a lot of random and scattered information that I had, once I started narrowing down and sort of eliminating that extra stuff that just simply wasn't needed. And I started working on how can I improve and how can I start executing my edge, because I already had an edge. I just couldn't execute it the way it is supposed to be executed. And I started improving every single aspect of it, one at a time, one thing at a time, my entries, trade managements. And I was just probably consistently profitable very quickly, I would say, because I was, even with the random stuff, I was at like losing trader or somewhere at the break even sort of point. And from break even, I just went to profitable really, really quickly because of deleting 80% of the stuff that just simply wasn't required in my trading. And second is just improving my own execution skills. And but yeah, that's how the journey was for me. And now it's just 2025, and I started working with a couple of other traders, and it's just surprising how if you just only try to learn trading as a skill and try to do it this way, just so quickly people can actually become profitable and just on the right track when it comes to that. And that's exactly what happened. So there you have it, guys. This was my journey on how I was introduced to the markets, how I got started with trading the markets, how I really just fell in love with trading the markets, and also how I almost quit becoming a trader and trading the markets multiple times. But something or the other, just markets just kept on calling me, and here we are today. Hopefully some of you found this video useful and helpful, because there were so many trading mistakes that I made, and these are very common mistakes. And sometimes people are also just making these sort of mistakes, and it's so hard to even recognize that you're not on the right track. So hopefully it was helpful to you guys in some way. Hopefully it was also entertaining to you guys, learning about me and my journey as a trader. Hopefully you guys just found it worth your while watching this video. So if you did, please consider hitting the like button. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of me and more other trading related content that could really help you with your own trading journey. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. It's almost 4:18 p.m. right now. It's almost my prep time. Usually I start my prep around 4 p.m. Dubai time to trade the markets. It's 4:18, slightly late. But yeah, Hopefully, you found this video valuable. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you want to see more of me, consider subscribing to this channel. And leave me your thoughts, guys. What was your biggest takeaway from this video? If you did find it valuable, helpful, useful, or if you didn't, just let me know. What do you think? What was your biggest takeaway from this video in the comments below? And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy. Cheers.